Hey guys, it's Sonny. Coming at you here with a video today. Guess what? It's on sailing. That's right. So they showed a preview of the sailing alpha today on the old school RuneScape live stream. And I'm not going to get into the gameplay. The alpha is going to be dropping on Thursday, so I'll be making a video when it drops of the gameplay and my thoughts on the actual gameplay itself. I mean, I don't really see the point in talking about the gameplay when I'm not playing it. I'm just kind of looking at it. But I did want to make this video on this little topic of conversation right here, kind of near the end of the stream, and that is on XP rates. So I know people have been talking about XP rates a lot, been curious on what they're going to look like. I was under the impression, I think a lot of people were, that this was going to be a pretty fast skill, right? I mean, I assumed this is going to be like kind of 200K an hour, maybe 250K, really pushing it. That kind of seemed reasonable to me. They talk about it here on the live stream. I'll just let you hear for yourself, and I'll kind of talk over my thoughts on exactly like what the on what they're saying. So
Can you talk to chat a bit about the XP rates that you're thinking of putting this content at? Like, considering how intense the gameplay is, where is your head at with that?
Kind of hard to say is the truth about it. Like, it's going to be what feels right. And to be honest, like, tell you the XP rate of this trial at level 30, right? Like, players probably want to know what the top end trial is. I haven't even made that yet, right? So, like, it's hard for me to say what is fair. I think the top end trial we probably want to launch with is around level 80. And the example I've said internally is that it should probably be better than the port tasks at level 80. But the port tasks at level 90 should probably get close to those players who are like really efficient to the trial. I know that Elena on the Sebe podcast recently said like sailing's probably going to top out about 100k XP an hour, and
yeah, there it is. There it is. So, kind of dodges the question a little bit. And look, I understand they're still in the alpha; they haven't developed it. I mean, it still has been. It's been 2 years, so I would have thought they would have had an idea of what this was going to look like in comparison to other skills, because that's really the most important part. It's not the actual number itself; it's where this sits as far as comparison to other skills. But as we see here, I mean, Sailing is going to launch with level 80 Barracuda trials, which is like the most efficient, like meta, max efficient Sepulcher style training. And from the man himself, topping out at 100k XP an hour. 100k XP an hour. Now, 100k XP an hour, if that is the actual EHB, is the slowest skill in the game. Rune crafting, because you can use, runners and day alts with lavas, is faster. Mining is faster. I mean, agility is faster. Sepulcher. Every skill in the game is faster than 100k XP an hour. There is no skill in the game that slow right now. So, according to what he said, it's gonna launch as the slowest skill in the game. And he mentioned the port task at level 90 would be around that same level. So the port task, I think there was some confusion. I saw some people thinking like, oh, that's like the AFK stuff. So like that'll be, you'll be able to AFK, 100k an hour, 90k an hour. That won't be that bad. No, the port tasks are the fetch quests. The port tasks are one small favor on a boat. The AFK stuff, he didn't mention that. I would be very surprised if the AFK stuff is more than like 60k an hour or 70k max. Like I think 60k an hour is probably reasonable. I mean, this is a slow skill. This is a very slow skill. I mean, the fact that we're gonna launch this as the slowest skill in the game is just unbelievable. So he had a little more to say. Let me continue the video here.
I think like we've talked about in hindsight, it is lowballing because it's like, what can you say, right? You give it a number to a player and they're going to argue, oh, you said 150, I think it's 160. No, I think it's 180, or I think it's 200, I think it's 300. It just, the numbers don't matter actually right now, because it won't matter until we're actually in the context of playing it and knowing what feels good. Because a lot of people who go, I just really dislike the skill, just please make it fast. As long as it's fast, I can cope. And we've always said that a skill should be fun regardless of how fast it is. Obviously, like, you don't want to be getting we don't want sailing to be a slog, right? Some skills truly are a slog.
So gonna stop it right there. He says, we want the skill to be fun regardless of the XP. I think what this team needs to understand is they could make the best skill in the game. There will be people who do not like it. there are people who you go through every single one of these skills in the game. There is someone who does not like that skill. People love Slayer. A lot of people hate Slayer. Some people love construction. People love agility. People hate agility. Every skill in the game has people who don't like it. So this whole like, oh, we just want to make a good skill. We don't want to, it's the XP rates aren't important. It's just nonsensical because you could make the best skill ever and there's still going to be people who don't like it. So the XP rates do matter. It matters to a lot of people. A lot of people are not going to like this skill, whether you want to admit that or not. That's just the truth of the matter. So yeah, I think that, and he goes to say like we don't want to make it a slog. Other skills are slogs. 100k XP an hour is a slog. It is, like I said, the slowest skill in the game. It is a slog of all slogs if they make it 100k an hour. So he's completely off base there. That's just completely out of touch.
But the gameplay is what's actually important, more so than just make it fast. So I think that's something that a lot of the sailing sort of like people who did this like sailing have been saying, please make it fast. And obviously the players tend to be like, give me more cookies, not less cookies, right?
Again, gameplay is important. You could make the best gameplay ever. People will still not like it. There are going to be people who don't like this skill. So just holding on to that is, I think, is just wrong. And I don't think he sees the entire picture. I don't think they understand that there are going to be people who don't like this skill, and they're going to... really, what you have to think about it, 100k XP an hour to max, that's 120 efficient hours. It's going to be more than, it's obviously more than 120 because you're not getting 100k XP an hour at level 1, right? But let's just say 120 hours. There is not even close to 120 hours of content from what we've seen so far. Not even close to 120 hours of content. They kind of try to address it here later. Elena starts talking here. I'll let her talk, but she's also wrong.
So. But it's also important to leave a little bit of space. Like, we don't want to make this the fastest possible skill. I keep saying this, but every other skill...
Just cutting her off there, we don't want to make it the fastest possible. So 100k XP an hour, again, is the slowest skill in the game. We have, like, what is... construction's like 1 mil an hour. Same with fletching. Fletching's like 1 mil XP an hour. You have a lot of room from 100k to 1 mil XP an hour. You did not have to make it 100k. You could have gone... thieving is a non-viable skill, and it's 250k an hour. We could have gone 200k, 180k even would have probably felt okay, but like to go 100k is just so off base there. So the fact that she's like, oh, we want to leave room, we don't want to make it the fastest skill. You made it the slowest skill. You had a lot more room to go. I don't really think you didn't have any room to go lower. That's the lowest you could possibly have made it.
The game keeps being updated. Like, we introduced Guardians of the Rift, Giant's Foundry, lots of stuff is constantly being updated. And I could...
None of those updates are efficient hours either, so that I don't see how that argument has any bearing on what the max XP rate of sailing is going to be. Guardians of the Rift and Giant's Foundry are not increasing the max XP an hour of rune crafting or smithing.
I could see sailing being the same. It's going to be updated for years to come. And so what's really important for us is to build the right foundations right now. And that means that we need a little bit of space so that we can actually make meaningful, updates in the future as well.
So her reasoning here is that we want to continue to update sailing. We want to have more updates in the future, so we need some more space for XP because, if we add new updates in the future, we'll buff the XP rates. Again, we have 100k an hour. You can add a new update and it gives you 20k an hour extra XP. You can go from 200 to 220k XP an hour with a new update to sailing in a year or two. Which, first off the bat, they're going to spend 3 years on this skill. I think they should take a break and focus on some other stuff. I don't think we should have like 2 of some of the most senior devs locked away on Sailing Island only working on this skill for the next 5 years. I really think that they should take a break. So, we're talking years in the future where they would be adding stuff. And again, you have room. You can make it 200k an hour, and you could buff it 20k, and you're buffing other skills at the same time too. That's the thing. 200k an hour, it sits fine. It sits completely fine in the scheme of other skills. Maybe it's a little on the fast side, but this is a controversial skill. A lot of people don't like this skill. I think making this a little fast just to appease them is not a bad thing. Let's think about what are the most disliked skills in the game. Rune crafting, agility, mining. What do all 3 of those skills have in common? they are slow. They are slow to train. And guess what? Sailing is slower. It will be slower than all three of those to train. So, like, this is just, if you want to make people hate sailing, this is the way to do it, is to release it what's already controversial and make it the slowest skill in the game. And I promise you, people will hate it.
Also,
And that's, they stop, they move on from there. That's the end of the XP rate discussion. But I just wanted to make a video on it. I wanted to talk about it a little bit. I mean, it just was so ridiculous listening to that on stream, and just what the J mods were saying. It just felt so off base and so out of touch that I had to make something. I mean, really just made me even more not excited for this skill. So again, I'll be playing it on Thursday. I'll give my reaction to the actual gameplay. I mean, I don't know, maybe it is fun, maybe I enjoy it, but we'll see. But just in general here, what they're saying about XP rates, just totally wrong. They're totally just out of touch, off base, and yeah, hopefully we can figure it out. Hopefully it is not 100k XP an hour on release, because it's going to be horrible. So let me know what you guys think. Are you excited to spend 120 hours on the seas to get your max cape back? And as always, thanks for watching.